Hello everybody and welcome to part 4 of the answer videos for the 2000 video question and answer stuff. And we're going to be jumping right in where we left off, answering more questions. But once again, what is an answer video without the hat? Yes, must wear the hat while making the video. It's kind of a law. See? There we go. That's better. Yeah, we're looking good here. Yes, apologize if there's any background noise. There just always is. So, I have the page open. Questions are sorted by date, and we last left off on a person simply known as Q, who asks 2 questions. Number 1, can you do videos in another language? And number 2, can you do a county or country, whichever, /trip blog? Well, as for your first questions, unfortunately I don't speak any language but English, so I'm afraid you're not going to be seeing any videos in any language from me anytime soon. Yeah. Lo siento. There you go. That's I'm sorry in Spanish, I think. So there you go. That's about as close as you're going to get to a video from me in a second language. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, and I remember very, very little. So, yeah, only know English. And as for a trip blog, it's funny that you should mention that, because I'm actually giving strong consideration to doing just that starting in 2018, because there's very little I enjoy more than, driving around and going places. And I have thought about taking video making more seriously and jumping it up to a new standard of quality. I think I might have talked about this before on the one of the previous videos, where I wasn't super pleased about the way that I've been sort of continuing on the same path for 8 years doing this. But I was thinking of starting a travel and trip vlog, where I would basically be going to places, throughout Pennsylvania and the neighboring states, and just walking around and filming things, while also vlogging and blogging and talking about my thoughts on the matters, just like various, whatever comes to my mind, whatever has been occupying my mind, and sort of juxtaposing that with wherever I'm going to. I think that might actually be a very good series, because I think I've seen similar things before from different channels. I want to go from a real sort of like chill aesthetic with it, like something you can sit back and relax and watch and enjoy, get really into it, get really into seeing the places that I go and the things that I talk about. And this is something I really want to do starting next year, because I'm willing to drive 3 or 4 hours to places one way and then back in the same day. I don't mind that whatsoever. And there are many, many places I can do that with in Pennsylvania and, New Jersey, possibly even southeastern New York, most of Maryland, and places like that. And then maybe once in a while I'll do an overnight trip where I can go 7 or 8 hours away, and that can take me all the way to the Ohio border, maybe even past it, into West Virginia, into Virginia, pretty much anywhere in upstate New York, a good chunk of New England, so there's a pretty good range of places where I can go on this if I decide to do it, and I think I will. I'll work my way into it. The question is, will that be on Bone Canoe? Will that be on Sudden Plan? Or will that be on an entirely new channel? That is going to be a question that I will have to decide before I start. But chances are I want to create something new, like a brand new channel where I'll sort of like a new channel for a higher level of quality content. That's sort of the idea I'm going for right now, but my mind might change. Okay. Next up is a question by Nibe, N-I-B-E, Nibe. Asks, can you play Smite? I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. I have the power of the Google. It's a free to play third person multiplayer online battle arena video game developed and published by High Res Studios. Blah blah blah. Let's click on images. This looks very much like a, like a Diablo or something like that, right? I don't really have much experience playing such games, so I don't want to get your hopes up. I'm probably not going to play it, but I guess nothing's impossible, right? I never thought I'd be playing StarCraft, and then I ended up playing that quite a lot back in the mid-10s, which is now a past tense time period. So I guess it's possible, but it's not likely I'm going to be playing it, so I don't want you to get your hopes up. Alright, next up comes Gabe Williams, who has 2 questions. First, do you ever consider bringing back on the Sudden Plant visiting towns and cities? I miss those videos. Well, very fortunately, I just talked about that, and yes, I do agree. I miss those videos too, and I appreciate that you enjoy them. And yes, they are coming back, like I said, probably in a much better format. So yes. And Gabe also asks, would you consider Civ 6? And the answer is, yeah, I think that at some point I'm going to pick up Civ 6. As you know, I'm very stubborn and I like to stick to the games that I know. So I'm very happy with Civ 5, and I even still play Civ 3, as you all know from the channel. But at some point, I'm pretty sure I like to pick up Civ 6. Whether it's going to dethrone Civ 5 for me or not, I'm not sure. But I'd be willing to play it in the future, especially if, friends of mine are around and want to play, because I definitely, it was playing it with friends that got me into Civ 5 off of Civ 3, so maybe the same thing could happen for Civ 6, but I'm probably not going to get it right away, maybe later, who knows, but I think I will eventually play Civ 6. Okay, we now move on to a question by Seth Spencer, who writes, Bone missed all the other chances to ask you due to having a busy week. First, I want to say that I love your channel and will be doing a shout out for your channel on my other channel, Bluewood Studios, in the near future. Always thought your channel was awesome. Well, sir, you're awesome, and thank you for that compliment and the shout out. As someone who has a very small audience also, although mine is way smaller than yours, I just wanted to know if you think it's worth making videos knowing that you are at least making one person smile, laugh, and enjoy your content. Even though you are making more than one person laugh, the question still remains. Absolutely yes. Now let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story that relates just to that question. Back in 2014, about that time, I was doing a Minecraft series with my buddy Reader Gaming, who you might remember. I did 2 Minecraft series with him, but the second one was kind of like a Skyblock thing, and I did over 100 episodes, and those got almost no views. And I was just doing them because, like, it was really fun to meet my friend who now lives in Germany. I don't get to see in person much, obviously. But it was fun to meet him once a week and play this game and record it. And I didn't even care that no one was watching. But then I found out there was, like, this one woman who was probably in her 50s. And I think that she was either, like, sick or disabled for some reason. And so she spent a lot of time on YouTube watching videos, and she just really enjoyed this series that I did with Greg. It was like, you could even say it was like a comfort food in a way. It was like we were keeping her company with our long episodes. And, you know, knowing that made it all worth it for me, even if the number of views is very low. So that is one of the main driving factors why I still make videos. Apart from the fact that I am used to doing it by now and I enjoy it, I also am very much aware that there are people who still, you know, laugh or smile or get enjoyment from my videos. And even if it's a small number compared to larger channels, that makes me definitely want to do it more. And so for you, I would say yes, definitely. Anyone who wants to make videos, I always say do it, you know? Because you never know what you might achieve. You never know who is going to enjoy your content. So yeah, go ahead and do it. But you have a couple extra questions, so we'll get to that. And another question, would you consider making another Sims 2 series or doing Sims 4 in the future? Well, a return to Sims 2 could be fun at some point. A fun fact, when I was doing my Sims 2 series, I was still using an actual physical CD of the game that I had gotten way back in 2005. And if I was to do the game again, I think I'd prefer to get it on Steam or something like that. It would be fun to make a revisit of the Lincolns and their extended family and say that, you know, actually on the 8-year anniversary of my Sims 2 series, which was July 31st, I did a video which was a bit of a retrospective, and I even went and I told everybody what my plans were for the future of that series. Like, I explained where each branch of the family was going to go, and I don't know if anyone was interested in that because nobody actually commented about that part of the video, but I always thought that was a very interesting thing, you know, what did happen to the Lincolns. And I actually had some pretty detailed storylines worked out for pretty much all the family members, and because that was a thing at the time, you know, unlike nowadays with the Wilsons, where I just sort of, you know, they just sort of do their thing. I had some pretty intricate storylines planned out for, you know, the greater Lincoln family. But, I mean, none of them are going to be, I mean, there's no way it's ever going to be resurrected in such a way again. But it would be fun to go back and revisit The Sims 2 and take a look at things and possibly even make a person or something. Who knows? As for The Sims 4, just like with Civ 6, I do think that at some point in the future I will be getting the game and playing the game. But just like with Civ 6, I don't really feel a rush to do it right now. I mean, it took me years and years before I started playing The Sims 3, so it might take me a couple more years before I decide to get around to playing The Sims 4. I'm just stubborn like that. I don't know. So, who knows? I'd very much be willing to look into that in the future, but it's not going to be soon, most likely. And he also says, one more thing, do you still watch WWE? Yes, I do, and we're just 2 days out now from Survivor Series 2017, which was a really good show, even though the ending was a little bit weird. But yes, for those of you who don't know, I am a big wrestling fan, and it's I just love wrestling, you know. And I've been to I haven't been to that many wrestling shows, unfortunately, but I was at Raw a year ago, Monday Night Raw, and I hope to go. I really want to go to the Royal Rumble because it's coming to Philly in January, but I doubt I'm going to be able to go. I mean, that's probably expensive as all hell. And you also have to realize, you know, they've really fleeced you on parking, and it's just a pain in the butt, you know, like $10 beers or whatever. Like, I can get an entire bottle of whiskey for like a little more than that. So, I mean, I do want to go though, because it's really different seeing things live. But it just seems like it's a little unlikely. But yeah, I'm definitely still WWE fan, and I was thinking I should bring down my one of my wrestling T-shirts to prove it, but they're upstairs and I'm down here, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Okay, I'm going to scroll up. We have another couple of questions by the same Q as before. So, Q, if that's your real name, asks, number one, can you play more Cities Skylines? Well, you're in luck, because between the time that you answered that or asked that question and the time that I'm answering it, I actually uploaded 4 more Cities Skylines videos, and I'm planning on many more. I mean, I don't think it's unlikely that Trinity is going to hit 100 episodes. It's just one of my... actually, it is probably the best city I've ever made in Cities Skylines. It's just perfect for a Let's Play, and it's just excellent. And I'm really enjoying making it, and I hope that all of you are enjoying watching it. Number 2, where would you like to live in every continent? County, province, city, state. Where would I like to live in every continent? That's an interesting question, because I already talked about this a little bit in the other video. So I've talked about the places I'd want to live in North America and Europe in the other video. Just to reiterate, in Europe, I'd want to go to Poland. That was my decision. So let's think of the other continents for now. Let's go to Asia. If I had to move to Asia, it's a little bit of a hard choice, but because like the obvious choice would be Japan, I think, for most people. But the thing is, Japan is very, like, you know, it's very expensive, and it's also just very settled, and it's very, like, I don't want to say it's not interesting, because it's probably very interesting. But what I'd rather do, believe it or not, I'd love to try out China. Yeah, seriously, I'd like to live in China for a time period. I watch this sometimes watch this channel on YouTube called ADV China, and it's these 2 Western guys, one American and one British South African, who live in China. They've lived there for over a decade. They both have Chinese wives, and they've lived in China, they work in China, and they're big motorcycle guys, so they ride their motorcycles all around China with cameras on their helmets or on their suits or whatever, and they just film like all over the country. And while they film it, they vlog about various topics about their lives in China, things they observe, just like anything that has to do with the country, and it's absolutely fascinating to me. So I think I'd really like to try China. As far as what point or what part of China, I'm not certain what part of China I'd want to go to, but I think it would not be that bad to go down to where they are in the Pearl River Delta, which might be the biggest urban area in the entire world. For those of you who don't know, that's where Shenzhen and Guangzhou are located, and of course Hong Kong. But that's, while it's part of China, it's kind of separate, that whole thing. But yeah, I would be willing to go down there in that area and try it out. What other continents? Australia/Oceania. Well, I guess living in Australia would not be bad. I don't really know much about the different Australian cities. So I heard like Sydney's like really overpriced. I don't know if that's true or not. So maybe Melbourne. I don't know. I looked at it on Google Maps one time. It looks pretty chill. It's laid out in a grid very much like a lot of southwestern American cities. It does look a bit like a southwestern American city. I'd be willing to try it. Okay, so how about that? How about Melbourne? And what other continents do we have? South America. If I had to move to South America, I've always been curious about Argentina. I think I'd want to live there. And I'd want to live, because there's like this, it's a really long country that goes from like semi-tropical down to more temperate areas that are like semi-arid, and they have like these big ranches down there and all that. So yeah, I'd like to try out Argentina and go like way down to the southern part of the country, where it's kind of like the climate that is here, but reversed, Our winters are their summers, and vice versa. So why not? What other continents have I mentioned? Antarctica. I'd want to live somewhere with a base and a like a airport, just in case I got into trouble. So I don't know. Hanging out at a research station in Antarctica would be pretty fun for a little bit. Sure, why not? Okay. And any other continents I missed? Oh, Africa. Ooh, that's a hard one. Yeah, there's not really any good places for a white boy like me to live in that entire continent. It's a lot of trouble. But, if I had to pick, probably, let me think. Ooh. Yeah, nothing over there seems really that good. I'm going to be honest. But I have to pick something, right? So, maybe Kenya. Why not? Kenya seems okay. There's actually some reasonable development in Kenya, especially by their capital. They have like shopping malls and not interstates, but highways and things. So sure, why not? I would try out living in Kenya. And that's all the continents in the world. Okay. Next question. Can you make a City Skylines episode where you solve traffic congestion and make public transport? Well, that's about every City Skylines episode involves one or both of those things in various ways. So, that's that. Can you name your episodes back in Roman numerals or both? I could, and I very nearly did for the Sims 3 series, but I don't know. I think people enjoy the being able to easily search for and find the videos. Maybe if I do like a true throwback or something, I'll do it. But I don't see any particular need to do that. But it was fun doing Roman numerals. I just like how they look compared to regular numbers. And finally, can you do a DNA test with 23andMe and then make a video of it so that we know where your ancestors come from? Actually, I would be willing to do that. The question is, do I want to spend the $100 or so? And the answer, I think, is eventually yes, but I don't know when. And I think it's like, there's a part of me that would be a little bit grumpy about me doing it and not like somebody else in the family and giving me the information. But then again, nobody has the same DNA as me. I mean, I guess my sister could do it, but she doesn't really care, I don't think. But I really am curious because I might have mentioned this at one point, but my mom's mom, my grandmother, was adopted. So her lineage is pretty uncertain, although I've long suspected that it's probably German or maybe Irish, because she was born in Pittsburgh in the 30s, and you can guess or look up what kind of groups of people that were in the area at the time. So it's probably that. And I know that I'm English and German and part Swedish too. The Swedish is only like 1/8 or less, but it's there. But there's always, interesting little bits. It's possible I might be 1 or 2% black. It's entirely possible. I might be part Eastern European or Southern European or Asian or Native American. You never know. My family has, most of my family has been in the United States since before it was an independent country. And I think everyone's been here for over 100 years. So it would be interesting. And yes, I would be willing to do that. But the question is, if and when I'm willing to spend the money. Because I can be cheap a little bit sometimes. But eventually I think I'd love to do that. But anyway, that is actually it for the questions on the main page. However, I did leave questions open, and I got more questions on some of the other answer videos. So I'm going to be answering those next time. And you know what? Why not keep this going? If just because I enjoy doing this, I am still going to keep the questions open for a little bit longer. So if you have any more questions, just drop the question onto the video and that would be fine. Well, that's about it for now, and I'll see you guys later. So long.